Hello everyone, welcome back. BogMod here, playing more Tales of Arise. And things got weird. Can I show it from here? No, I don't think I can. Well, maybe. No, I can't. Alright. Play records? No. Yeah, no. So, Rena, as a planet, is in a weird situation. It appears to be mostly just half of a shell.
Here, lend me a hand while I...
No!
What the... Oh, right. The thorns. My bad.
No, I'm the one who should apologize. I overreacted.
Again, Law? Can't you even go a minute without putting your foot in your mouth?
Yeah, I gotta agree with
Seriously,
them
it's
about
fine.
this one.
I'd rather that than people feeling like they're walking on eggshells.
Law, you should be aware of things by now.
Besides, I'm the one who should be vigilant about not touching you guys.
You should
not
both
the other
be
way
vigilant.
around.
Actually, I've been meaning to ask. Not being able to touch people. Does it ever get lonely sometimes?
Hasn't? I feel like this has been covered before.
I guess I never really thought about it in those terms. It was either accept it for what it was or come undone. Before long, it was just part of my everyday reality. I think I even forgot there was another way to live. Which isn't to say I didn't feel alone. I did. Always.
So numb to your reality, you couldn't even recognize it as loneliness? I don't know how you managed.
It's fine. I know I'm not alone anymore.
But I can't even touch you. No way of lending you a shoulder when you're down? Even Alphen.
I appreciate the concern. Until I get rid of
I
these
do think
thorns,
we kind of
guess I'll
covered
have to
this
put up with it just a little longer.
thing.
But not forever.
No,
Alphen promised me that.
no.
Maybe it'll be soon.
Also,
maybe
given
it
the
won't be.
context of the
But either
situation,
way,
I
the
can think
day
of
will
many other
come,
things we should be talking
and I'll
about.
be ready when it does.
Like the
Yeah,
fact that a giant
just hang in
flower
there.
grew out of the other
One day,
planet.
We'll share a big warm hug. You'll see. I promise.
Also, are they both... I thought they were both moons?
Boo!
Ah! What the... Are you out of your mind? This isn't the time for games, Rinwell.
Oh, come on. How am I supposed to resist with you looking all jittery like that?
It's called experiencing feelings appropriate to the situation. You ought to try it sometime.
Yeah, but seeing you act all nervous, you're making me start to feel nervous too. Whew.
Oh, sorry.
Staying alert is important.
Law is such
but
a
too much
weird
caution
character
can
for me.
cloud your judgment.
I just can't get a
Try to
grasp
strike a
on
balance.
his personality. It just feels all over the place at times. Anyhow, we ended up on a just a random other space station.
Saw happening outside the starship.
Yeah, our planet's really not doing too hot right about now.
I've only ever seen Rena from the surface of Dana, so I figured it was just another round planet like ours. Still though, I never would have imagined Rena actually looked like that. And what's the deal with that giant flower coming out
Yeah,
of it?
it's really kind of
Beats
weird.
me. I have absolutely no clue. It's so surreal. It looks like a broken egg or something.
Rena and Dana
I was gonna say more like
taught that both worlds were spherical bodies that floated amongst the stars in the heavens.
a
To think that they
an
lied
apple
to
that
us
was
not only
chomped on.
about the sovereign and the crown contest, but also the form of our own planet.
Dohalim.
Okay, who's the wise guy that summoned us here?
Also,
Someone formidable enough to bring our starship along with
you
us.
think about
They
it.
must be here
For
somewhere.
them to never have
Let's
noticed
find them.
what Dana did, it would have had to have constantly rotated or tilted or whatever. So to only ever keep that one aspect facing towards their home world.
That beam of light joining Dana and Rena. It was the Renan side that it first came from, right?
That's what it looked like. And then the Danon side responded.
Perhaps it was some kind of directive from the Renan homeworld? To reawaken the Wedge and Lenegis?
Maybe. Maybe.
Which would mean that whoever's behind all this is on Rena after all. But what are they after? Is it really worth going through all this trouble just to steal Dana's energy?
Try to stay calm. With so many factors we don't understand, dwelling on it won't get us anywhere. What is it?
No, it's just... Zephyr once told me the same thing.
It's good advice.
So much for me making progress, huh?
You made it this far, didn't you? You notice something, you change it. That's all anyone can do. But you can't stand still in the meantime.
Alright. I think we've covered all of our... And now we're just on this random other spaceship we had no idea existed. Or space station. Okay. Nope. I guess central level. Like we were going to go to the homeworld, the Renan homeworld, but then the magical spooky lady showed up, teleported our ship, and then we kind of flew into this thing.
This place looks a lot like that room we saw back in the Forbidden Zone.
Huh? What's that?
It does have similar... Ooh, it looks like one of the... what the ladies in red turned into.
It's one of those!
A red woman in disguise. Or is this their true form?
So it was a trap?
It doesn't look like it can move. Tell me, are you the one who brought us here?
That is correct. It is unusual for me to have unexpected guests these days.
It can talk.
What are you?
Hevrect 35.
Havrick 35. Okay.
Hevrect 35. Is that your name?
Or a designation.
What is this place? No, wait, before that, just what exactly are you? Are you somehow associated with the Red Women?
Before I answer, I have a question for you. How did you all arrive in this sector?
We did not come to this place by choice. Our ship was brought here against our will, by a group of red women who can shift into the same form as you.
In that case, we can assume my brethren who serve the Great Spirit have deemed you all to be a threat most grave.
So now we got
What do you mean,
a great
sir?
spirit.
Are you saying there really is someone more powerful than the Red Women, pulling their strings?
What did you do to us?
I examined your bodies. You have not been harmed in any way. Identifiers detected. The Sovereign and Maiden are among you. However, you aren't under its control. I see why they viewed you as a danger now.
Oh, goody. More riddles.
Do you think we can trust this thing?
Like it or not, it may be our best chance at a ticket out of here.
I want to know what the
At
Great
least
Spirit
hear it out.
is. That seems the most important detail so far.
I shall now answer your questions. We are Helganquil. The Red Women you encountered previously are a form of disguise we employ from time to time, but not our true form.
Helganquil?
You are on Dake Phasal, a celestial base which drifted here by accident. The will of Rena's Great Spirit no longer reaches us here. Since my sudden separation from the Great Spirit's influence, I have used any and all means to extend my lifespan. As I have done so, I have also set out to monitor and research Rena and Dana from this position.
A question. What is this great spirit of which you speak? Is it something that rules over your kind?
Correct. The Great Astral Spirit is a large mass of astral energy that fills all of Rena.
Ah, there we
with its
go.
own will. A voice we cannot refuse.
A voice? Just like Dana.
The voice of the Great Spirit speaks to our hearts directly, and we have served it without question throughout the ages.
Does that mean it was controlling your minds? Wait a second. Could this great spirit be the true sovereign of Rena?
The true ruler of Rena. It could be the same thing that's controlling Volron.
Wait, back up. You're telling us this great spirit of yours is the one that ordered you things to harvest the astral energy from Dana? I'm not sure I believe that.
Why not? We've already made contact with the will of Dana back in the Wedge, and in the Forbidden Zone on Lenegus. If Dana has a will of its own, I don't see why Rena wouldn't.
Maybe not, but think about what you're saying. If Dana has a will like Rena, then that would mean that we've been controlled by the voice of
Well,
Dana.
not necessarily.
Just like these things.
Dana's will hasn't been forcing us to do anything.
Yeah, but
It could.
Let's assume that what Hevrek 35 claims is true, and that we are indeed cut off from both planets. Even if we had previously been under the control of Dana's will, we would have noticed now that we are disconnected.
Your fear is not based in logic. The voice of Dana is much smaller and quieter compared to that of Rena's Great Spirit. Rena's astral energy is amassed at its center, whereas Dana's is shared among all its constituents. So thinly is that energy spread that it cannot coalesce and formulate a will. Our findings here indicate as much.
Which explains why we felt its will where we did. The Wedge and Lenegus are where so much of that energy had been accumulated.
The Great Spirit's desire is to consume all astral energy, and the pursuit of that desire is why you see Rena in its current state. As a result, it has turned its attention toward Dana. Is that why the
I guess it
crown contest is
cannibalized
necessary?
its own
So that the Great
planet?
Spirit can feed off of Dana?
Indeed, and it was to that end that we Helganquil devised the crown contest. Had the initial spirit channeling from 300 years ago succeeded, all of Dana's astral energy would have been seized.
But the ceremony failed. Lenegus was severely damaged, and you lost both the Sovereign and the Renasalma.
Correct. A change in plan was required to ensure the spirit channeling's success. However, recreating the Renis Alma required a vast amount of energy. That is why we turned to Dana.
So that was the real purpose behind the crown contest. An efficient means to harvest the necessary energy from Dana.
This is all happening because of me.
Nevertheless, you still haven't answered
happening
one of
because of the
Austin's
Great
original
Spirit.
questions. Just why have you brought us here to your base, Hevrek 35?
First, it was to confirm the identities of you, my unexpected visitors. Second, it was to ascertain whether you would be likely to accept my request.
A request? But what could someone like you want us to...
He wants us to stop the Great Spirit.
I wish for you all to
There we
slay
go.
the Great Spirit.
I'm sorry, did you just ask us to kill your master?
I did. It is in your best interest that you do so, I might add.
What makes you say that?
Lenegus has entered the final stage of the spirit channeling plan. As we speak, Dana's energy is being harvested en masse and transmitted to Rena. If nothing is done about the Great Spirit, it will not be long before all is lost.
Yeah, we knew
You're
this.
saying the destruction we saw earlier is just the beginning? That...
We won't let that happen.
Why do you want us to kill the Great Spirit so badly? Is it to save our world? To free you, Helganquil, from under its control? Why?
No. My primary concern is validating our findings and analysis, which have taken many years to realize. As such, it is my desire to see how your actions impact and change these systems. However, I will not deny that vengeance also plays a part.
A little upset about being enslaved.
For what?
In spite of our
used?
long service to the Great Spirit, our species is on the brink of extinction.
You mean you're dying?
At this stage, it would be wise for you to talk with the others. Ask them what you need to know. Once you have your answer, return to me. If you agree to help, I shall fix your ship.
Others? Just how many of you are there?
I am the only Helganquil who inhabits Dake Faisal.
Hey! Hey!
It's no use. I think it's done talking to us.
Alright.
Let's take a look around.
So, I'm not sure. It seems like the Great Spirit's just a kind of a hungry, hungry boy. It's just, you know, a generic kind of, I want to destroy and eat the world type dealio.
You can't seriously be buying anything that creature told us, right? I mean, it's practically blackmailing us into doing its dirty work.
To be
We
honest,
literally have the same
the
goal.
conversation went on for so long, I'm not sure I understood all of it. How about you, Dohalim? Were you able to follow it at all?
At the very least, everything it said about the Renan Great Spirit adds up. At the end of the day, this whole chain of events comes back to astral energy. That being said, had we not previously encountered the will of Dana, I suspect I would find its story much more difficult to believe.
The spirit of Rena wants to see Dana completely destroyed.
But why? Astral energy is supposed to be a force that creates and shapes the world.
It doesn't matter. I don't care if we're up against an entire world or what its game is. We're not going to let it destroy Dana.
Right.
There is one other thing that concerns me. How the Great Spirit, the Helganquil, and the Crown Contest are all part of a centuries-long plan is clear enough. But what about the Renans? How do they factor into all
I guess
this?
there weren't enough of the Helgen Quill to complete its mission?
Now that you mention it, and all that talk, Hevric 35 never even brought up the Renans once. And as for the Helganquil, we never did find out just what they are either.
Creations of different
Maybe it
creations
had a
of the Great
reason for
Spirit?
keeping its silence. Or perhaps there's even more going on.
Yeah,
Maybe
we
the
gotta
others
investigate
will
more
shed
on that, I
light the
guess.
matter. Let's find out.
Alright, I guess we go now then to the upper level. I guess I thought that they were where's the sun? I mean, from the way the shadows are cast, I should be able to see the sun. Alright, well. I thought for some reason they were both moons to a larger planet. Because they look about the same size. Alright. Ooh. Comfy chairs. Yeah, this really is like the Forbidden Zone. that is forbidden. Oh, hey!
Who are they?
What is it?
Oh, my apologies. It's just been so long since I've seen any humans from the outside world.
Are you a Renin?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. The Overseer told us to answer any questions you might have. Whatever you want to know, we'll tell you as much as we can. But be quick. Our subjects are undergoing a dramatic shift that we don't want to miss.
What a weird guy.
He must have meant Hevrect 35 when he mentioned that Overseer.
And the subjects are your two
And
worlds.
what was that about subjects? You don't think he meant Dana and
Yeah,
Rena,
I
do you?
definitely think he did.
There isn't anyone else we can talk to. I guess we should ask around here.
Have you guys lived up here in Dag Fazel with Hevrek 35 for a long time?
Yes. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head just how long it's been, though. We regularly go into stasis, so our sense of time has gotten rather out of whack over the years.
Why are you all even here in the first place?
Originally, this station was where we worked to perform maintenance on Lenegis from the outside.
We heard that the facility ended up in its current location due to an accident.
Oh, it was terrible. Apparently there was some kind of accident, and when help never arrived...
Oh, it's when Alpham
the
wrecked the place.
facility had been destroyed.
And you've been working for Hevrect 35 ever since?
Well, at first we thought that there was nobody else inside the facility, but then it turned out the Overseer was there all along.
What do you mean?
The Helganquill have the technology to cloak themselves around us.
Yeah,
Renans.
that explains that previous
As
stuff
long
we were
as they
talking
don't do
about.
anything obvious, a Renin won't see one, even if it's right in front of them.
Which would explain why
Yeah.
Shion and I failed to notice the Red Women previously. Do they employ an astral art of some sort?
I haven't been able to scientifically confirm it for myself, but from what I understand, the type of cloaking they use is primarily achieved through mechanical means. In addition, they also used hypnosis devices and information control to get us to do what they wanted without being detected.
Alright.
It's a pretty sophisticated operation, especially since it avoids any unnecessary conflict. I have to imagine that's how Lenegis is still run.
But aren't the Helganquill themselves controlled by the Great Spirit? If so, why aren't Renins affected by it in the same way?
The Great Spirit's mind control only works on Helganquill, so they had to
Okay.
employ other means to manipulate us Renins.
Any reason for why it only works on the one?
You act like this didn't affect you personally. If I was you, I'd be mad as hell at their deceptions.
I mean, sure, I was surprised when I first found out about it, but it happened so long ago.
Hevrect 35 has clearly ceased concealing itself, though. Why is that?
Who can say? My guess is it just got bored, or maybe even a little lonely.
Don't you want to go back home to Rena or Lenegis? Our ship is going to be fixed pretty soon. You could ride with us.
No way. If we went back after knowing the truth, they'd either just brainwash us or purge us outright.
It's a fair worry.
After all this time, there's nothing to be gained from going back. We've all agreed it'd be best to simply stay here and watch everything unfold instead. Things are going just fine with the Overseer. Not that it'll be around much longer. It can't extend its life any further.
Oh.
That said, I'm sure it's pleased to see the final stage of the plan before it passes on, though.
Thank you for answering our questions.
Okay. A little bit of information there filled in.
Can
Right,
we
your
talk
turn,
to you
buddy.
for a few minutes?
Sure. It's going to be a while before the two planets undergo their next shift, so I can talk until then.
Please, tell us what you know about the Helganquill.
You mean the Overseer's species? I can't say I know much about them.
Well, for starters, where'd they come from?
Where else? From Rena, obviously.
From Rena? Wait, are you telling us those things live right alongside the Renans down there?
I wonder if there's even any Renans down there.
Of course not. There's really no such thing as Renans in the first place.
Excuse
Oh?
me?
Am I on the right
I
track?
thought the Overseer explained everything.
Apparently not.
Please, tell us more.
Well, in a nutshell, the Renans were originally created from
Ooh.
Danans by the Helganquil.
Now that's quite the revelation. That is indeed a sitting,
But if
changing
that's true,
bomb.
then that would mean there aren't any people on Rena.
There aren't. But there are Helganquil. That's what the name literally means in their language. People of Rena.
But what need could they possibly have to create a whole new race of people?
It was a way to bolster their dwindling workforce. I trust you're aware that the Helganquil are on the verge of extinction, yes?
You did mention
In
that.
essence, we were created to carry on their work for the Great Spirit after they all die. They gathered Danans who had an affinity for astral arts and proceeded from there. That's why we, as their descendants, can all cast arts, albeit to varying degrees.
Let me get this straight. Are you saying Renans were originally created from Danans that the Helganquil kidnapped?
Makes sense.
Wait, that explains why almost nobody can use astral arts on Dana now.
Ooh.
Helganquil technology is truly amazing. The way they alter their bodies is far less invasive than your conventional surgeries. They have these tiny machines that are practically invisible, which they insert into their bodies and...
Enough. You needn't tell us anymore.
I don't know. I was kind of curious
How
about
can
the
you speak so
nanotech.
calmly about all of this?
I guess I can see how, when viewed in a certain light, their ways may sound grotesque. But if you ask me, I think they ultimately did us a favor. They saved us from crawling the earth in ignorance. If it meant their hands had to get a little dirty in the process, then so be it. Anyway, the Helganquil are the real Renans. Personally, I don't think it's such a big deal. They're also mostly the ones behind what you see going on between the two planets. I think that covers just about everything worth knowing.
Alright, makes sense to me.
Thanks for filling us in.
So the Great Spirit's like, I am hungry for life energy,
Does he
existence
really expect us
energy.
to believe that Renans never truly existed? How absurd.
That it dispatched its goons to genetically
Just when I think we're
modify
getting to the bottom of it
some
all,
Danans,
some new revelation smacks us in the face.
so that it had more tools to achieve its om-nom-nom nature.
Then let's hope this is our last revelation for a while.
That makes sense. This seems like the kind of end game revelation.
Do you know anything about a spirit channeling plan?
If you mean the first plan from 300 years ago, then yes. Do you know what its main objective was?
Yes. It was to use Lenegis to siphon off Dana's astral energy and send it to Rena.
Exactly. However, there were two problems we had to consider. First was how to collect and send such a large quantity of astral energy without it becoming sentient. Second, we had to figure out how to convert Dana's energy so it would be compatible with Rena.
I take it the solutions to those problems were to use the wedge for the collection, and then the Sovereign and Maiden to convert the energy.
We have a winner! However, the first plan failed when the Sovereign was overwhelmed and became frenzied. The reason for that is because the Maiden lost control. I'm told he slaughtered many Renans and Helganquil that day.
Oh no, he killed the
For
people
next
trying to
plan,
end
we
the
tried to
planet's
recreate
life.
the Renis Alma, but we didn't have nearly enough of the other non-dark astral energy types. To amend that, we set our sights on Dana and implemented a system whereby we could extract energy from it.
And the crown contests began.
Correct. Since the Maiden had been the failing point in the previous plan, it was decided to replace her role with machinery to avoid further mishaps. A new Sovereign had to be made as well. It was such tremendously difficult work, its success was dubious. But from the look of things, it would appear such worries were unfounded.
So that's what the purpose of that room we found in the Forbidden Zone was.
What about the flower that sprouted from Rena?
Flower? Oh, that thing. That's the physical manifestation of all the astral energy that's been harvested from Dana.
Sweet, delicious
As
exposition.
I'm sure you've noticed, it's quite a lot of energy. At this point, it's likely that it's become physically integrated with Rena's planetary structure.
Hevric 35 mentioned that the spirit channeling plan is entering its final stage. Is that true?
It is. I never thought I would live to see the day with my own eyes, and yet here we are. Are we done talking now? If it's all the same to you, I'd really rather not miss anything that's about to happen.
Nothing about the thorns yet. We could have had a few more details
like the
there, I feel
potential
like.
end of the world is just another day on the job.
You've got to remember that these guys have been living alone up here for a long time. Who knows what shape their minds are in?
Alright.
It feels like our whole world has been turned upside down. Is there anything we know that's still true at this point?
Seriously, I'm still trying to process the fact that we Renans were created by the Helganquil, let alone the Sovereign and Maiden stuff.
Let's take a moment to gather ourselves. I know all of this is a lot to believe and take in, but I think it's fair to
Some
say
of those
that the
details
only
are,
answers we've
I mean,
been
interesting, but they don't really affect what you need to do.
Agreed. Though I'll admit that I never
There's
expected it to all boil
giant,
down to
hungry
Rena's great spirit being
Collection of
kind.
energy that gains sentience that wants to
Everything
eat
that's
everything.
happened, everything we've endured, it's all because of astral energy.
And to get that energy, the Great Spirit took control of the Helganquil. Then the Helganquil created the Renans, who went on to invade and rule over the Danans.
Plus, the reason the Great Spirit can't directly control the Renans as well is likely because they were originally Danans all along.
Makes sense.
Either way, I think it's fair to say we've all had a lot to take in at once. Maybe too much, even. We should probably take it easy and rest our minds a bit.
But ultimately, that's,
Why don't we
you
all
know,
take some time to
an
think things
unimportant
over
detail.
before we decide on our next move?
It doesn't
That's a
change
good
the fact
idea,
that a
Kisara.
giant hungry spirit is trying to eat your
The
planet,
Renan Great
and you need to
Spirit
stab it in the
really is
face.
behind all this, and we've got a really big fight ahead of us. Because it's not just Dana on the line, but Rena too. If we're going to do this, we need to be completely sure of
I
ourselves.
don't know that there is
So let's go
anything
ahead and
left
break off
of
for now.
Rena itself
We
to
aren't in any
save.
immediate danger.
The Helgan Killer
Should be
dying,
okay.
apparently. There are probably no
Sure you don't
Renans
wanna be
there.
alone right now?
I could ask you the same question.
I figured I'd get all my thinking in while walking around and checking up on everybody.
I'll go along with you. I'm interested to hear what's on everyone's minds, too.
Either way, it is time for a break. We've had a lot of interesting lore dumps on
Everyone's
us.
just gone their own way, huh?
Yeah,
We'll talk to you all in a
let's
bit.
set up each spot.